Hello and welcome to the Minimum Competence episode for Monday, March 3rd, 2025. I'm your host for today, Andrew Leahy, a tax and technology attorney from New Jersey. On today's episode, we cover a judge blocking Trump's restrictions on gender-affirming care, a ruling against his firing of a watchdog, and an ACLU lawsuit over migrant transfers to Guantanamo. Let's remember, out of chaos, find simplicity. From discord, find harmony, and read today's legal news. On this day in legal history, March 3rd, 1879, Belva Lockwood shattered a major legal barrier by becoming the first woman admitted to practice before the United States Supreme Court. A pioneering attorney and women's rights advocate, Lockwood had faced repeated obstacles in her legal career simply because of her gender. After being denied admission to the Supreme Court bar multiple times, she successfully lobbied Congress to pass a law allowing qualified female attorneys to argue cases before the nation's highest court. With President Rutherford B signing the bill into law, Lockwood was finally sworn in, marking a historic step toward gender equality in the legal profession. Lockwood wasted no time in making use of her hard-won status. In 1880, she became the first woman to argue a case before the Supreme Court, representing a Cherokee Nation land claim in United States v. Cherokee Nation. Her success paved the way for future generations of female attorneys, proving that women could handle complex legal issues at the highest levels. Beyond her legal career, Lockwood also made history as one of the first women to run for U.S. president, campaigning in 1884 and 1888. Her groundbreaking achievements challenged the deeply entrenched biases of her time and expanded opportunities for women in law and politics. A federal judge in Seattle has extended an order blocking the Trump administration from withholding federal funding for medical providers in 4 Democratic-led states, Colorado, Minnesota, Oregon, and Washington, that offer gender-affirming care to transgender youth under 19. Judge Lauren King ruled that Trump's executive orders were unconstitutional as they interfered with Congress's authority to allocate federal funds and violated the Fifth Amendment's equal protection guarantee by discriminating based on sex or transgender status. One of Trump's orders, issued on his first day in office, mandated that the federal government recognize only 2 biologically distinct sexes and barred grant funds from supporting, quote, gender ideology. King criticized this move, stating it aimed to erase transgender individuals from federal recognition. A temporary restraining order was previously issued on February 14th, while the judge considered a longer-term injunction. Another federal judge in Maryland has also temporarily halted Trump's orders nationwide. The lawsuit follows a second executive order from Trump that prohibits federal funding for gender transitions for minors. More than half of U.S. states have passed laws restricting gender-affirming care, and a pending Supreme Court case involving Tennessee's ban could set a national precedent. A U.S. judge has ruled that President Donald Trump's firing of Hampton Dellinger, the head of the Office of Special Counsel, was illegal, setting up a potential Supreme Court battle over presidential authority. Judge Amy Berman Jackson determined that allowing Trump to remove Dellinger would give him excessive power to pressure federal officials. The Justice Department has already filed an appeal. Dellinger, appointed by President Biden for a 5-year term, oversees whistleblower protections and ethics investigations for federal employees. Jackson rejected the Trump administration's argument that keeping him in place undermines presidential authority, emphasizing that the special counsel's role is designed to function independently. The case is part of Trump's broader effort to limit the autonomy of federal agencies, including the FTC and SEC. While Jackson called her ruling extremely narrow, the outcome could shape future limits on executive power. Meanwhile, Trump's legal team argues that Dellinger's continued role disrupts government operations, citing his recent intervention to prevent the firing of 6 federal employees. The ACLU has filed a lawsuit to stop the Trump administration from transferring 10 migrants from the U.S. to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, arguing that the move violates immigration law and serves no legitimate purpose. The detainees from Venezuela, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Afghanistan have final deportation orders but are not classified as high-risk criminals. The lawsuit describes harsh conditions at Guantanamo, including extreme isolation, verbal and physical abuse, and suicide attempts among detainees. Homeland Security officials defended the transfers, claiming only the, quote, worst of the worst are sent there, though reports indicate some have no criminal records whatsoever. A previous court order blocked the transfer of Venezuelan migrants to Guantanamo, but they were instead deported to Venezuela. The lawsuit is part of broader legal battles over Trump's immigration policies, including efforts to end Biden-era parole programs for migrants with U.S. sponsors. Another lawsuit was also filed against Panama in the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, challenging the detention of migrants there. And with that, and as always, I thank you so much for listening to Minimum Competence, your daily news podcast for lawyers. If you're looking for more than Minimum Competence, links to further reading on all the topics touched on today are in the show notes. And reviews go a long way towards helping new listeners to find our show. If you have a moment and can leave a rating or review on your podcast player, we'd sure appreciate it. And if you know someone that might be interested in a story we cover, consider sending them the episode. But remember, nothing here should be construed as legal advice because it is certainly not that. Minimum Competence is available at minimumcomp.com and wherever it is you get your finely crafted podcasts. If you haven't checked out the website in a while, give it a look. There are complete transcripts and resources for each episode and its corresponding segments, as well as an opportunity to receive new episodes, an email, newsletter, form. We'll see you back here tomorrow, and until then, remember, normal is an illusion. What is normal for the spider is chaos for the fly.